Okay, so rounding decimals. Everybody attention back up here. You can finish that in a minute. Rounding is the first word. Rounding is used in mathematics in order to cut a decimal short. We don't always want to write all the decimal places down, so we need to be able to round them. To decide whether you need to round an answer up or down, you must consider the digit immediately to the right of the specified place. This is called the critical digit. For example, if we want to round the number 15.6327 to 2 decimal places, okay, so the question said that I want 2 decimal places. Then I must cut the number as shown. So I've counted. Here is my decimal point, and I want the 6 and I want the 3 because there's 2 numbers. That's what we call 2 decimal places, 2 numbers after my decimal point. Then I have to look at the number right after that line and decide whether I'm going to round up or down. So in this case, that the number straight after the line is a 2. We call that the critical digit. So it says in this case, the critical digit is a 2. If the critical digit is less than 5, then we are going to round down. Now, rounding down just means that you basically chop the rest of the decimal places off and the first 2 decimal places that you have there stay exactly the same. But if the critical digit is larger than 5 or including the 5, so anything 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, then you're going to round up. This means that the number that is right in front of the line needs to round up by 1. So if that had to round up, that 3 would become a 4. Okay, but this one doesn't, does it? Because my critical digit is less than 5, so it would round down and it would just chop those decimal places off. So let's practice rounding. Round the following numbers to 2 decimal places. Draw a line where it must be cut and circle the critical digit. So 2 decimal places means that I want to keep the 5 and I want to keep the 3, and my line gets drawn after that 3, so that I have 2 numbers. So draw that in there. It says to circle the critical digit. The critical digit is the one straight after the line, right to the right, not the one on the left, the one on the right of the line. Okay? Now, it depends on that number as to whether you round up or down. This number is a 9. It is bigger than 5, which means we need to round up. To round up, it means the number in front of the line goes up by 1. So it will round to 23.5. So none of those first 3 numbers changed. It's only the next one, the 3, changes to a 4. It rounds up by 1 and 1 only. Okay, let's try that again. For part B, my decimal point is here. If you can see my little thing wiggling around there. I want the 7 and I want the 5. They're my 2 decimal places. So that's where the line gets drawn because I want to chop everything off after that. But my critical digit this time, circle it, is a 1. Now 1 is less than 5, which means it's going to round down. Now rounding down I think is the easy option because rounding down means you don't change anything in front of that line. You keep it exactly the same. So it's 1.75 and you chop everything off after the line. Okay, so rounding down is the easy one. Question 2, still rounding, but now we want to do 1 decimal place. So we only want 1 number after the decimal point. So like last time, let's draw our line after our 1 number. So it would be after that 6. The 8 is going to be our critical digit. Am I going to round up or am I going to round down? Up. Up, good, because it's above 5. When I round up, the number in front goes up by 1. So only that 6 is going to change. The 25 stays the same, but the 6 rounds up 1 more to be a 7. So 25.7. And B, find the decimal point. I want one number after the decimal point, and then I want to draw my line. Circle the critical digit. It's a 4. Is that going to round up or down? Down. Good. So down's the easy one. It means chop off at that line, get rid of all the stuff after it, and keep everything in the front the same. 13.5. Numbers in front of the line don't change. So question 3, it's going to mix it all up. We're going to keep changing the number of decimal places. The first one says round to 3 decimal places. So count from the decimal point. I want the 3, I want the 4, I want the 7. They're my 1, 2, 3 numbers. Draw the line. The critical digit is a 2. Does that round up or down? Down, which means chop it off, and the things in front of the line stays the same. So 18.347. Part B says I want 2 decimal places. So I want the 4 and the 3. Draw the line after the 3. My 9 is a critical digit. Ferris, do I round up or down?
Up.
Good. So what happens when I round up?
Next number goes, the number to the left goes up 1.
Which means my answer is?
0.44.
Very good. Make sure you're writing these down, please, not playing with your calculator. Question C. I want 3 decimal places again. So I want the 5, the 9, the 9. Draw a line. The 6 is the critical digit. So is it going to round up or down? Up. Very good. Now this is the trickiest scenario because my number in front of the line is a 9. A 9 has to round up to a 10. But you can't just put a 10 there. That's got 2 digits. I've got space for 1 number. So that means if the 9 rounds up, if that becomes a 10, then I have to put my extra 1 up into here, but that's also a 9, which means that's going to bump this one up into that spot there, and that's going to become a 6. So only when these numbers are 9 does it then, you then have to keep bouncing, carrying them up into the other digits. So it would be 7.6. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
No, because that only has 1 decimal place. I want 3. So that means those other ones that I had to round up and round up, they're the zeros. So 7.600 because I was asked for 3 decimal places. Amon.
But isn't the zeros at the end of the decimal place they don't?
They're not going to change the value, that's right, but it does indicate where I've rounded to. Because if you just put 7.6, it looks like you've actually rounded to 1 decimal place, which is a different level of accuracy. Daniel.
For the next page, can you do the first one?
Yes. All right. Yes. Good idea. On the next page, so you're going to be doing here, it says we're doing pages 29 to 31. So there's 3 pages here. On the first page, this is what we were doing in our first section. It says write the name of each decimal place indicated in words and then as an unsimplified fraction. So you've got to find the underlined one. So the one that's underlined is the 8. It is in the second decimal place spot, which is known as hundredths. So you write it in words first. That's what I asked for. Hundredths. Don't forget the very important THS on the end. Okay? Then you have to write it down as a fraction. So that means 8 over 100. So write the position in words and then write it as a fraction. Amon.
Oh, that's a 10.
No, it's in the second, the decimal point. The 4 is in the tenths.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
What do you do for the next one?
Question 2 or question 3?
Question 2.
Question 2, the 7 is the one that is underlined. And it's in the units or ones. I don't mind which name you use there. So let's go units. And so you can write it as a whole number 7, but if you'll see that the answers always put that over 1 to indicate that it's in the ones position. Okay, so that would be how the answer will view that one. Okay, so finish off the rest of that page, and then on the page 30 and page 31 is all the rounding stuff that we've just done. Yeah.
That's what. How much into the go?